Depends what you're comfortable with. If you're, comfortable buying it. Speaking of the devil, Andrew Neeme. Jesus. Bring this dude over here. Come here, Neeme. Come get in this.
Hey guys, Connor Richards of PokerNews here with another episode of Life Outside Poker. My guest for this episode is Nick on Tilt. Nick is an up-and-coming poker vlogger from Dallas, Texas. He's played on shows like Hustler Casino Live. We did this interview on the WPT Voyage in the Bahamas. It was a lot of fun. Fellow poker vlogger Andrew Neeme makes a cameo. Tournament director Matt Savage wins an event in the background. Let's get into it. So I want to talk to you about a bunch of things. This is Life Outside Poker, but of course we're still going to be talking a lot about poker, But I want to talk to you about vlogging. Sounds like you've got some brands. You've got that 3-coin hat on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's talk about it all. But yeah, we were just talking. You're from Dallas. I told you I'm a Mavericks fan. Did you grow up in Dallas?
Yeah, I grew up about 30 miles south of Dallas in a little country town called Waxahachie. And, came from a good household and a lot of gambling went on. And that's how I came to be.
A lot of gambling went on. So it sounds like you learned poker from your family, probably.
Yeah, my dad was a big poker guy, and my mom's a big blackjack girl, so it's in the blood. It's pretty bad.
My dad's a big poker player, so that is how I discovered the game. I didn't get into it until, I was like 23 or 24. Sounds like you got into it younger than that.
Yeah, my dad built houses when I was growing up, and his best friend was a big bookie in Destin, and we built his house for him. And, we moved in with him, and, I was learning how to sports bet and playing on Bodog when I was like 8 years old. So it's always been in me. It's pretty cool.
Oh, man. So, yeah, I do remember those days. I remember my dad like playing on full tilt and stuff.
Yep.
I don't remember if I played much, but I would sweat his action a lot. You have any good memories from those days?
Oh, yeah. I remember my dad having to go get up and, take a leak and, hey, fold, auto muck. You let me know if there's a good hand. And, yeah, those are the days full tilt. I remember that.
And how old are you now?
I'm 25. I turned 25 in January. How about you, Con?
I'm 29, so
there you go.
A little bit older. I know I look young, but I'm getting old, But, yeah, so how'd you go from, sweating your dad's account when he was in the bathroom to becoming a vlogger yourself?
So me and my dad, we build spec homes in Texas. It's called Splon and Son Construction. And we built one that was too big and it didn't sell. And I had to move in it. And it was like when the interest rate went up, I moved in it and I had to get a job, And, what better than to be a poker dealer? So I was a poker dealer for about a year in Dallas at a card club called Peaks. And all my buddies knew I had money. It was just, we were waiting on the money to come in. And so when it did finally sell the house, I told my boys, hey, let's start a channel and let's really get to it. And it took off in the first couple weeks. And, we've been doing it now for about 8 months and everybody's welcomed us with open arms, opportunities like this and to come on the WPT cruise. Shout out Joey Ingram. I got to come on the cruise for free. And, the 3-coin, they pay me to wear clothes. Who would have ever thought? It's just so many opportunities that opened up for me. And I love every bit of it. Had the opportunity to play on the Hustler, Poker Night in America, the Lodge, Andrew Neeme knows who I am. Like, it's kind of crazy opportunities and it's all happened really fast. And, I ain't trying to be no one-hit wonder. I'm trying to study and I'm trying to get better. And, it's hard. It's a hard game. These guys been doing it for 10, 20 years. They know what they're doing. And, I'm trying to become like them.
It's a very hard game. And yeah, what do they say? Takes a minute to learn, lifetime to master. When did you start taking it more seriously? When did you start studying the game and thinking like, hey, I could make some money doing this?
So most people know this, cash in Texas is pretty easy compared to Las Vegas, compared to this damn boat, But as soon as that house sold and I didn't want to be a poker dealer no more, I wanted to take it serious. It's hard building houses outside. I wanted to see if I could really, take it serious and try hard. I've played 20 plus streams this year and I'm up, 20, 30,000 off the streams and cash games. I'm up about 50K this year. And it's just been going really, really well for me. And it's all about, I think, just actually trying. Because I feel like especially in Texas, a lot of people that I play with are having fun. And it's okay to have fun, but you can have fun and try to win too. And the biggest thing for me is like the Dan Bilzerian thing is he's not the best poker player in the world, but he's in the best games. I think game selection's the number one thing, to me at least.
No, totally. I mentioned that Tony G is a guest that I've had on this podcast, and that's something I asked him about because kind of the same thing. You know, he's playing in those big nosebleed games, and it really does seem like it's all about game selection. What game selection advice do you have for people out there?
Give action when necessary. You know, you can give action to the oil guy that you know makes $1 million a year and he ain't playing for a living, but the European guy that flew into Dallas last week, you don't want to be bluffing that guy. There's no point. There's no point. That's what I would say is I learned that pretty quick. You know, you just want to give action to the right guys who deserve it.
Yeah, I was talking to AbbyPoker, who's with us at Poker News, someone you know. We were talking about you, and she said that, yeah, you're a loose player. You like to give action, but it sounds like there's a method to that madness. Sounds like it's all part of your plan.
It is. That's why, you know, Andrew Neeme, you know, I get, you know, free time, free membership at the lodge because I am a donkey, you know, at least they think, you know, which is all fine. That's what comes with it. And, you know, I get invited to Hustler and I hear about these other pros that, you know, they don't get invited to these stream games. They don't get invited to these juicy private games. And it's because, you know, you got to give action. And it's one thing, you know, you can be a winning player, but can you get in those games where, you know, it's a dude that, you know, he has 100K in front of him. He don't care if he loses it or if he wins. It's about having a good time. And most people can't get in that spot. And that's what I'm trying to get on.
And you mentioned you're from Dallas. We know that, of course, the lodge at Austin, poker is super booming, probably all throughout Texas, but especially in Austin. What's the scene like there in Dallas? And where do you play at?
So in Dallas, I was playing, it recently got bought by a poker house, but I was playing at Peaks Dallas. It just got bought. I play at the TCH Social. And shout out Wolfgang. He just bought a piece of the fort. The fort's in Houston. Nothing but cowboys and farmers looking for a good time. They've never seen a chart in their life. That's amazing. And, you know, we just always go in there and have a good time. And, you know, it's always fun. It's literally the Wild West out there in Dallas. You know, I went to Vegas and I was just seeing ace king, ace queen, you know, pocket kings, pocket queens. And, you know, if you see that shit in Dallas, you know, it's like they almost got lucky. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, you mentioned Wolfgang. It's funny. A couple weeks ago, I was covering the Celebrity Poker Tour thing in Vegas. Wolfgang was playing in it. Afterwards, they went over to Resorts World and hopped in a, 5-5 cash game, 2-5 cash game, and I got to play with them. So
nice.
I had
With Bryce Hall and everybody?
Yeah,
Hell yeah, that's dope.
Maria Ho was there. Rampage was there. So,
nice.
I mean, that was like an incredible experience for sure. Yeah, that was fun. I don't think I tangled with Wolfgang in too many pots, but I was in the 9 seat. He was in the 8 seat, so we got to talk a little bit.
Yeah.
Is he someone who you've gotten to play with at all?
Yeah, that's my boy. He lives about a half a mile away from me in Dallas. And, you know, he's gave me a lot of good advice on the vlogging side and the business side and, you know, how to put yourself out there. And also told me to start folding a little bit more. So everybody's, you know, has the best interest in me. And I met a lot of, you know, good people everywhere. You know, they just want to see me, you know, do really good. And I really do appreciate that. And, you know, we're in the business, though, of taking people's money. So it's a tough business to get friends in. But yeah, I feel like I've met a good core of people.
Yeah. Since we've been talking, you've mentioned a couple big names, Andrew Neeme, Wolfgang, Joey Ingram. Of course, you know that as someone who's getting into podcasting, he's the GOAT. He's the guy I look up to.
100%.
But in the vlogging world, definitely Andrew Neeme. And now Wolfgang seems to be the next big thing. Who are the first vloggers that you really started paying attention to?
The first vloggers I started paying attention to was Rampage, Wolfgang. I'll say Mariano. You know, I got into all that. You know, I was watching those dudes every day. I couldn't wait till they dropped a podcast. Brad Owen. You know, I remember being the Mirage is about to get sold anyway, but I remember having a fake ID, being in the Mirage, and I was playing in a meetup game with Brad Owen, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. You know, oh, there's Brad Owen, and you know, it's kind of crazy to you know, 4 or 5 years later to be, you know, in the mix with all these guys. Like I had the opportunity to play with him at the lodge, and you know, we mixed it up in a couple hands, and they're so cool, bro. Everybody's just, you know, just like me and you, we just met. Everybody's so cool in this industry, and you know, it's just crazy to think it all comes pretty fast. You know, just like Mariano and Rampage, they're playing 1-3, you know, 3 years ago. And these dudes are playing $1 million cash game now. Like, that's insane to me. And, you know, that's where I'm trying to get. So, even Wolfgang, Wolfgang was just playing at the Commerce with 50K in front of him, and it's crazy. Me and him bullshit all the time. And, he was from Chicago, playing 1-3, grinding rent, and it all comes quick when it does come. You got to be ready for your moment.
No, it's true. I really got into poker in like 2019, and I remember watching Rampage's early stuff. He's just out there grinding in Boston, playing 2-5 or 1-3, and now he plays the biggest games around, has ridiculous swings, crazy tournament scores. It's pretty crazy how it can all change like that.
It's crazy, man. I remember, I watched every Hustler it ever came out, every little live stream they had, and when I had the opportunity to play, I almost threw up before I played on it. Not because of the money so much, but just because like the bright lights. I feel like, we're not in that big of an industry, but that's the biggest, to me, that's the pinnacle, is the Hustler Casino. And when I got the opportunity to play on it, I was just so nervous. I wanted to play good, and I wanted to, not make a fool of myself on, TV or, whatever. And, I played on it twice, and I won 5 figures both times. And,
wow.
I was really happy with how I played, and I didn't let nobody put me in tough spots, and it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it seems like as far as live streams go, Hustler Casino Live is, the biggest player in town. They've won tons of GPI awards. How'd you land a seat in that game?
How did I land? Okay, so they had a content creator stream. Shout out Casino King. So this is how I got my whole start. Is I was doing commentary for Peaks Dallas. They had a little live stream. It gets like 50 to 100 views. We were running 2 or 3 streams a week, and they let me and my boys say whatever the hell we wanted. And Casino King, Cairo, Sethy Poker, Corey Eyring, all these guys came down one day for a content creator stream. The owner wanted to, make the business grow a little bit, and I'm sure he gave some incentive for them to come. And they all came, and they loved my commentary. And a couple weeks later, Casino King was doing a show on Poker Night in America, and he wanted me to come commentate. So I came out there, I commentated, and the next day they let me play. So a couple weeks go by, and Casino King calls me and says, "Hey, man, you have a YouTube channel, right?" And this is how it all started. And I said, "Yeah, I got a YouTube channel." I probably had like 500 subs at this point. And he's like, "Why don't you come play the Hustler? And, I love your energy. I love everything about you, and I think it'll really be good for you." And I was playing with Frankie from Next Gen, Casino King, Branson, a whole bunch of these different vloggers who are really successful. And, I bought in for 4,000, and I had 14K in front of me in like an hour. And after that, it just kind of blew up, and we got followers, and that's how it kind of happened. I always thank Matt for that. That's Casino King. And, he just had a baby, and I sent him some clothes for the baby. And I always give Matt and Cairo their showers. They put me on for sure. And I'll never forget that. But that's how I got on the Hustler. And, Ryan Feldman and Nick Vertucci liked the way I played. And they invited me to come over for the second time. And that was a real game, though. That wasn't a content creator game. That was like the Hustler regs. And, I did good. I was playing with Suited Superman, Vertucci, trying to think, Ronnie. There's a whole bunch of those Hustler regs that are tough, man. That was a way different stream than the first time.
And you mentioned that going on Hustler, you were a little nervous. I've only played on one stream. I played on the Bally stream for an industry night that they did. It was 5-5-5, but I mainly play 1-3, and just being on TV, it was just much bigger game than I was expecting, and it was nervous. My VPIP was super low, and it was embarrassing.
That's okay. Okay.
Hey, thank you. But what advice do you have for people who might be getting the opportunity to play on stream? They don't want to look like a nit. They want to be invited back. How do you balance that with the nerves of it all?
And that's what I'm saying. That's when it gets, you hear people like, there's people like Rampage right now, giving a little bit too much action and, not receiving it back. And, you go on a downswing, but you're doing it for the content. So there has to be that good mix. I would tell people to play within your means. Don't ever let that buy-in affect you, and if it ever does, you don't need to be playing that game, which, I've done it, I hate doing it. But, for instance, like on the Hustler, I bought in for 4K and I had 18K in front of me at one point. And I hated every bit of that because I didn't care about the 4K, but the 18K, like, I don't want to play a 36K pot. Like, I would never imagine even doing something like that. And it wound up happening. And thank God I chopped the pot. But, I would just say try to play within your means. But, yeah, you definitely don't want to be the guy going on the live stream putting up the 8% VPIP
Well, you know, mine was 12, so I wasn't that good. But I was pretty close.
That's okay.
You can watch it, man. I was card dead. You know,
for sure.
But like I said, you know, I was nervous. I was a little out of my element. I was just happy for the opportunity.
For sure. And you felt what I felt too. You get nervous. It's not so much about the stakes. It's just about like the cameras are on, you know?
Well, I did want to ask about that. How does playing on a stream affect your play style? Do you not want to look stupid, so you might not make a bluff, or maybe you do make a bluff, so you get a good clip out of it? How does it change how you play?
So I played now. I want to say I played my fair amount of streams, and I like other than the last stream I played with Abby, I literally punted to Abby. That was disgusting. But I like the first 15 or 20 minutes filling out how everybody is, because most of these people, if it's like a content streamer, you can tell who's been there and who hasn't, and you can also tell if the stakes affect people. Like, for instance, when I go on the Lodge stream and I play with the Lodge guys, like a lot of those guys are regs and pros. They don't give a damn about the cameras. You got to lock in and be ready to play cards. Where it feels like the Hustler has new people coming in. They have regs that are splashy. And that's the game where you want to, you know, be splashy, be cool. And the Lodge stream, like, you can have that 20% VPIP and nobody's going to be mad at you because they're all pretty good players. And, you know, I'll go shout out Champions in Houston. You know, when I played on the Champions stream, dude, the lowest VPIP there for their regs are like 35 to 60 every week. So, you know, I'm calling Abby with King High and she has aces. You know, it's just like, you know, you just got to pick your spots and, you know, fill out the stream. And I'd say, you know, do your homework on the stream. You know, if the stream's a good stream, like Bally's has great players that come on there, but there's some nights where it's just pros. So I would just say, you know, pick your poison. You know, I always tell people before you play a stream, try to get the lineup. Because some people don't like giving out the lineup and some people do. And I always get the lineup. I want to know, like, if I'm the spot, I just want to know if I'm the spot. You know, that's all I ask.
And Abby's a good player. So, you know, calling her with King High, I know she's capable of bluffing. She happened to have it there. But, yeah, you mentioned you punted in that game. Can you talk a little more about that? That'll probably make
let's talk about that punt. So I believe she 4-bet me pre-flop like the second hand of the stream. And I had King Queen off on like the small blind. I wanted to give some action. I called. It came 8-8-3. She bet a little bit. I called. Next card was an 8. And she jammed. And my thinking on it was she had like pocket 7s, pocket 10s, pocket jacks, you know. And if I hit a king or a queen, you know, I'm going to win the pot. So let's give her some action. She rode over aces full, like we were dead. I never in a million years thought that she had aces. So shout out Abby. That was a great move. I didn't think she would jam the boat, but she definitely jammed the boat and she got paid.
Sounds like she did get paid. She got max value there. You know, people do like hearing punt stories, downswing stories. What's the biggest downswing you've been on?
I played with Andrew Neeme on Poker Night in America and Sam Queso, Ace Poker. We all played in Poker Night in America about a month ago, and I lost $5,000. Then I went and played the Lodge stream. I lost $7,000. Then I lost about roughly $10,000 in Dallas in the course of a month. Wow. And it was like a 22K downswing, and like my bankroll, I would just say my bankroll was like $30K. And I'm sitting there thinking like, wow, are we doing this for like, what are we doing here? And, you know, thank God I went on an uptick after. And that's probably the biggest downswing I've ever been on, about 25K in the course of a month. And, you know, yeah, some of it was punting and, you know, some of it was run bad, but most of it, if you go back and watch, it's punting. You know, you like, it's just punting into the nuts. You know, it's just bad. You know, I remember Andrew Neeme, he 3-bet me on Poker Night in America. No, I'm sorry. I 3-bet him, and he flatted. And I had King Queen. Flop comes Ace Deuce 4. I bet about a third pot. He calls. Turns a king. I bet about half pot. He calls. River's a king. I jam. Snap calls. He has aces full. Nastiest hand I've ever been a part of. Like, he just flatted my little raise and just let me bet. And, you know, but that's why these guys are super pros and they're cashing in all the tournaments. And, you know, when you go back and study it, you just think about that for the next stream. And, you know, I'm still happy to be up this year. I shouldn't be up, but, you know, it's all fun. How did you do on the stream you played?
Oh, I ended up a couple hundred, but we were doing a stand-up game, which I was not too familiar with. And like I told you, I was the nit at the table. So I ended up losing 2 of the 3 stand-up games. I had to pay $25 each to each player twice. So I think, yeah, $400. So I was probably, I ended up breaking even. So I was probably up about 400 and then
had to pay out the net game. Yeah.
had to pay out. So that was upsetting just because I'm like, come on, I'm at an obvious disadvantage. I'm out of my element. The stand-up game is clearly going to hurt the tighter players, but that's all part of the strategy. Is stand-up game something in your repertoire?
Love it. Cause it, like what you're saying, it makes the people that are, have lower VPIPs and don't want to play hands, it makes them get out of line. And, the only thing I will say I feel like I'm really good at is, live reads and reading people. And, a lot of people have bet intels that they don't know about. They'll bet, half pot with the nuts and they'll bet pot with nothing. And, it's just trying to pick up on little things that people do. And I feel like that Nick game, it really does bring it out in people, especially like home games in Dallas. You'll throw on the Nick game and people will do stuff to get rid of that Nick button rather than just paying out the 200. Because that's what, shout out Wolfgang. That's what Wolfgang told me how he plays the Nick game is he doesn't let it affect him. If he has to pay it, he just pays it. But it does affect people. I remember when I first learned what the Nick game was, I was going all in the next hand just to get rid of my Nick button. And I got cracked so many times doing that dumb shit, But, I think the Nick game's good for the game.
Well, so that's what I wanted to ask about because I couldn't figure out the balance. It's like, okay, I certainly don't want to pay out $200, but am I going to triple off $1,000 stack, just to avoid paying 200? And so what's the balance there? Like, how out of line should you be getting?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It just depends how deep you are. It depends the stakes, and it depends what you're comfortable with. If you're, comfortable buying in. Speaking of the devil, Andrew Neeme, Jesus. Bring this dude over here. Come here, Neeme. Come get in this.
Come on, Andrew. We're doing a Poker News podcast.
We're doing a Poker News podcast.
Let's
Bring
get
him
cameo
in here.
Okay. We've got Andrew Neeme here.
Video involved in this?
There is.
Jesus.
Main camera right there.
Serious.
We got the Godfather.
Yeah, we got the Godfather right here and the Apprentice. He was telling me that you two have played together a decent amount.
We were literally just talking
Correct.
about all the money I gave you.
It's been a fun couple of sessions that we've sat together in. You're definitely due versus me now.
I think I am. I know the next time we play, I'm going to be a big winner.
It's almost a given. It's almost a guarantee.
Has to. I think
Lock
it was
it up.
just variance.
Yeah, no, for sure. Lock it up. You're gonna get it. You're for sure due for some money. But we were actually talking about you earlier. We were at the table with
Randy. Yeah, Randy.
Yes. And we were just saying, like, what a pleasure you are to be around.
I appreciate that.
Not only at the poker table, but just in general. But yeah, for sure. Like, you're just like, you make the game. You're one of those guys that just makes the game really fun, talkative, keeps it super lighthearted, win or lose, up or down, whatever. So
yes, I always try to have a good attitude. And that's what we were talking about, how to get back on these streams. It's just having the right attitude when you win and lose and giving a little action to the players that deserve it. And, he was saying, I'd like to ask you that question too. What's the balance for you about giving action or not giving action, giving too much action or not giving enough?
Like, especially like in particular when you're playing on stream or what?
Yeah, when you're like, for instance, Rampage talked about like how he gave like too much action and, that maybe will affect that downswing a little bit. What's your take on that?
I mean, it depends. Obviously, like, I don't think I'm even the best person who makes the streams. I don't think I'm like the life of the party,
Yes,
I can always do a better job of that as well. But like, it's going to depend on like the particular situation when you're playing stakes. If the stakes like really matter to you, then it's going to be really hard to just like blast off and play like a super high VPIP.
That's exactly what I said.
It's just super tough. Like, cause you're going to get, not only do you have to deal with the financial swings, but you're also going to have to deal with like the people, doing this, all the repercussions of people, sending messages and DMs
100%.
and comments and all that, which is, they say like, just brush it off, but it's way easier said than done. But, 100%. If you're playing lower stakes when the stakes don't necessarily matter, then got to get in there and splash around. So,
100%. You were splashing around on Poker Night in America. I was watching some of those hands.
Yeah,
you were a dog.
I was over 50% VPIP on that.
100%.
One. So,
100%.
So yeah, if it's not gonna like affect you too big, then I think you do have a little bit of responsibility to get in there and give some action, put on a show a little bit.
For sure. Yeah. You been enjoying the boat?
This is like the life, man. Honestly,
I could be on this boat for multiple months.
Yeah, it's tough to find something to complain about. You know, like all the food is amazing. We just came back from the Mexican restaurant, which is it's the best meal that I've had so far. We've already had like so many great meals. It's cool to like just walk around. You always see like a bunch of familiar faces. You know, like just hanging out, bunch of fun people.
And you've been killing it. You've been cashing in everything.
We did. We were doing okay, but then we busted the 10K today. You know, so
wah.
the big when you have a couple of good scores and deep runs, but then the biggest tournament that you buy into is a brick, then eats away a bunch of it. But life is okay.
It is.
I didn't mean to like crash your whole.
No, I think you made the whole episode.
Yeah,
but,
you just made everything.
Thanks
brother.
for the cameo. We'll have to have you on as a guest sometime.
Whenever.
Absolutely, man.
All right.
Hey, I'm gonna hit you up for them 3 hours, brother.
See you at the bar.
See you, buddy.
Well, that was awesome.
That is Andrew Neeme.
And that was not planned, people.
No, that was dope.
And hey, it seems like you have a future in podcast hosting. You were killing it right there.
Let's go. That's my dog.
Yeah. Well, since you brought it up, we are doing this interview on the WPT Voyage. It's been so much fun. A bunch of us from Poker News are here, and this is what I really love about my job is just the opportunity to do stuff like this.
100%.
How did WPT Voyage come together for you?
So WPT Voyage is funny. I felt like I'd never been one of those dudes that like the manifest or anything like that. But as soon as they started dropping the stuff on social media to promote, the Voyage, I was like, I'm going to get on that damn boat. And I told Neeme, because he's sponsored by WPT, when I played with him on Poker Night in America, I said, tell WPT, get me on that boat. And he started laughing or whatever. And Joey Ingram was doing an Instagram giveaway. And I don't know if it was rigged or not. Abby said,
did that go to you?
Yes,
Wow.
bro. Yes, bro. So
Wow.
he did an Instagram post. He said, hey, post on Instagram why you think you should be on the boat. And I just posted, hey, man, we'll turn that boat into a DJ fest. And, the randomizer was done on his story. There was like 500 people in it. And we got picked. And, I just think it's amazing. It's another opportunity where I couldn't believe it happened. And, shout out Eric. He does the channel with me, and he didn't have his passport. So my girl came up. So she got to come, and, this was amazing for us. And, we were just in Grand Cayman Island.
Yeah.
We were kissing stingrays, and we're going to be in the Bahamas tomorrow partying, and everybody on the boat's been so nice. I'm sure you can say the same. The food's been great.
Food's been amazing.
Amazing. And, getting the first night I came in, I'm probably not rode for this, but I played the $2,500 turbo. And, I don't know most of these guys' names, but, you see their pictures, and I was playing with the best guys in the world, and I knew that. And, Rampage is right there. And, I'm trying to think of the Asian pro, but, all these dudes handed mobs are 6 to 10 million. And, they're joking around with me saying they knew my YouTube channel. And, when you hear stuff like that, it makes you smile and, appreciate what you got going on. That, a little channel that started in Dallas with your buddies is, people are watching it all over the world. And that's amazing to me. I never in a million years would have thought I'd be a YouTuber or, getting paid to wear clothes. And, shout out Randy and 3Coin. He's a high stakes poker player in Dallas, and he has a clothing brand called 3Coin, and he's on the boat. Yeah. He's got a shitload of chips in the 10K tournament. He's an amazing human being. And he's one of our sponsors, and, he's great. And, just opportunities like that to be around somebody as cool as Randy is just, crazy. And, Neeme and all these guys. It's just amazing. Rampage came up to me today and said, what's up, Nick? Or the other day when we got on the boat, and, him and my girl are, shooting the shit. And it's just crazy to me, bro. It comes fast. It really does.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the WPT Voyage. It's coming closer to the end now. I think it's day 5. We've been out here for a while. What are some of the funnest things you've gotten to do?
So the funnest things I got to do, well, like I said, getting to play with the best players in the world, and they kind of be cool with me, wanting me to cash. Some of the guys were folding to me, and, getting to go on Grand Cayman Island and swim with the stingrays. But, most of all is just, sitting down, shooting the shit with somebody that watched our YouTube channel that I didn't know, hey, what's up, Nick? We love watching your content. And, I'm not I'll sit down and talk with anybody. I love talking to people, and, just really being on the ship and, meeting all these nice people and, meeting people who are in the same industry as us, doing the same thing on the other side of the world. It's pretty cool for all of us to come on a boat. And, I see everybody, just being real nice. Like I say, we're in the business to take people's money, but, it's one of those things where somebody drops a 20 out of their wallet, everybody here is going to pick it up and give it to them. So I love that about poker.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a balance. And hey, we can cut this if we need to, but Abby mentioned that you lost a little bit on the first night of the cruise. Might have been in the pits or something.
Yeah, let's talk. Oh, thank you. I didn't know we could get to this. Let's talk about it. So I was on tilt. I fired 3 bullets in the 25K turbo, or 2500 turbo, sorry. And, the play, like I said, the pros were giving action. They were going all in blind. And I had about 80K on 4K, 2K. And I had A6 suited in the big blind. And a dude shoved all in blind, one of these super pros. And, of course, I called. He had queen 9 off. He turned a 9 on me. And I go straight to the blackjack table with everything I brought, and lost another 10K. So the first day we were down 17.5K. And, I'm calling buddies. I'm calling mom. I'm like, hey, I need to have some money out here because I don't know what I'm going to do. And, I had a couple good days in cash after that. I'm still down on the trip, but we're definitely not down 17 no more. So I think for the trip, I'm down about 6K. And it could be a lot worse. It could be a lot better. But funny story. This is funny. I cashed in the mystery bounty tournament. There was 21 people that cashed that tournament, and I was the first dude to get knocked out. And I can't think of the pro's name right now, but he asked me to pull the bounty for him, and the top prize was 25K. And I was the first dude to get knocked out, so it's probably a 4% shot at getting the 25K. And I was like, yeah, I'll pick the bounty out for you. That would be funny for the vlog. And I start filming it, and I can show you afterwards. I fucking pulled the 25K bounty for him. I was on tilt. That tilted me so much. Yeah. Like, shout out him for winning, but I pulled the 25K slip for him. Everybody that was in the bounty tournament was mad. Everybody, and I don't blame them.
I'm glad you brought that up. Abby mentioned that happened, and Ben Ludlow, he's a content guy, so we heard that he pulled that bounty, but man, it should have been going to you.
So that's what I was telling Abby. I woke up knowing I was going to pull the big bounty, but I didn't think it was going to be like that, brother.
Hey, well, you'll have to play the WSOP this summer, and maybe you can get $1 million bounty.
100%. I think me, Corey Irwine, Sam Queso, Ace Poker, we're all going to get a little spot out there in Vegas. We're going to be out there the whole series, so should be fun. Should have a lot of content going on.
Right on, man. Yeah, I'm based in Vegas now. I'll, of course, be there for the whole series.
Oh, we'll have to link up for sure.
We will, man. And Abby mentioned that you're primarily a cash player. Are you going to be playing tournaments more now that you're going to WSOP and have opportunities like this?
Well, I have the tournament bug on the boat, so I'm sure it'll carry over. I'm sure I'll do a little studying with my super pros in Dallas. And yeah, I'd say I'll fire a lot at the WSOP. Probably put aside 10 or 20K and try to, I definitely was firing bullets I shouldn't have been firing here, but there's fun $600 tournaments and $800 tournaments all the time over there in Vegas, and I'll probably be firing at those. But, I wanted to play with, the best players in the world, and I had the opportunity to do it, and I actually liked the way I played in a lot of spots. I really did, but tournaments are hard to win anyway.
Right on, man. So let's talk a little bit more about your vlogging. You, like many others, have realized that rather than just having your name, it's good to have something for people to remember you by. Rampage Poker, Wolfgang Poker, you're Nick on Tilt.
Yeah, OnTiltPoker, yes, sir.
What's the story behind that?
So me and all my boys are thinking like, hey, what name could we come up with for our YouTube channel? And, we always play on tilt. So
I was just going to say, you don't seem like the type of guy to go on tilt. You seem like the nicest guy at the table.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm always the nicest guy on table, but shout out Matt Savage. He just won the Omaha tournament.
Matt Savage just won the Omaha tournament.
Yes, he did.
Crazy.
That's
Congratulations, fire. Matt, and thank you for having us all out here on the WPT Voyage.
Yeah. What did you ask me again, Bob?
Just so you decided on tilt poker. I kind of threw you off track because I said you're such a nice guy. You don't seem like you go on tilt, but that seems like that's a good name.
Yeah, OnTiltPoker. I mean, it's it's kind of how
People can
Texas
relate to
poker
it,
is.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, you lose a hand, you go on tilt. It's just kind of how we feel about poker, how I play. I mean, even going on this tournament, you can play 20 hands right, but all it takes is that one hand to put you on tilt. And, I love everything about poker, but being on tilt is a bad thing.
Let's talk about that then, because I'll just say this is something I struggle with. I go on tilt. If I take a bad beat, it's whatever. If I take 2 bad beats in the same couple hours, it seems like the end of the world, which is obviously not good. You have to be in the right mindset. What do you do? Do you meditate? How do you stay calm?
So the thing I've been getting a lot better at, and you're right, I really don't go on tilt that much, but when I used to, it's just, to me, it's about like what'll put me on tilt is if I go to like TCH Social, which is a card room in Dallas, and I give it away to a pro. Like, I play with a lot of my buddies. I play with a lot of people that give action. I play with a lot of business guys. And to be honest, if I lose a pot to one of my buddies or one of the business guys, like, it doesn't make me mad. Like, it's okay. Like, because I know in the long run, I'll probably get it back. But if I lose a pot to one of the pros or, one of the Europeans that came into Dallas and they're sniping people, like, it will put me on tilt because you'll never see that money back. So that's the thing I dealt with is just like I said to you earlier about giving action to the right guy, because I honestly, like, if me and you sit down and played right now and you beat me, I wouldn't be mad. But like if I didn't know you and you didn't play any hands that whole night and I had pocket kings and somehow you wind up getting pocket aces, I'm about to lose my mind, because that's just how it is to me. That's probably the only way I could get on tilt. But when like people like Brad Owen, Andrew Neeme, you can put, well, I wouldn't say Mariano because Mariano does go on tilt too, but those people, especially some of the guys, shout out Tommy Ho in Dallas, but some of the guys that I know that do really, really, really good, they don't do nothing great. They just do everything really good. And they're fundamentally sound is they just won't go on tilt. Like, they'll play their 15 or 20% of hands and they'll play them correctly. And if you beat them, hey, good for you. But that's that whole GTO theory. Throughout time, I'm going to get you. It's kind of like the pat on the back, like, hey, good hand, But that's what I'm trying to get better at. It's just, hey, good hand, no problem. And I think that comes with time.
Yeah, definitely. Well, good advice for sure for people not wanting to go on tilt. All right, we've talked about On Tilt Poker. You're repping the 3-Coin hat. How did you get involved with them? And tell people what 3-Coin is.
Yeah, so 3-Coin's a streetwear clothing brand. It's a street vintage clothes. And Randy is a high stakes player from Dallas. He heard shout out Mallory. Mallory puts together the TCH live streams, and he was trying to promote his clothing brand, and she said that I'd be a great fit for him. So Randy got me all suited up, got my pockets full and got me some clothes. And, I've been repping it ever since. And, I've had the clothes on the Hustler, the Lodge. He loves playing. I got him to play on the Lodge. He's going to be making his Hustler appearance soon. As soon as I won the trip on the boat, he booked his shit. He came straight to the boat. Like I say, I mean, he's a high stakes player and he's a great human being, He's running deep in the 10K right now. He has all the chips, up top's $250,000. And whenever we're done with this interview, I'm going to go sweat him. Like, this is sick. I'm so happy for him.
What is something that inspires you?
What's something that inspires me? That
could be a piece of art, piece of music, a person, someone in your life.
Something that inspires me, seeing people like Rampage, seeing people like Mariano that were doing what you were doing and you're starting to traject in that way and you can see that it's coming to fruition. Like if you would have told me, if you would have told me 6 months ago, hey, you're going to be playing the Hustler with 15K in front of you and people are going to know who you are on YouTube, I would have never believed you in a million years. And now that that's happened and that's kind of, already established, the next thing's, the next level. And I can see it, it's just like, not becoming comfortable. And that's one thing I've always, not being comfortable, still waking up, still wanting to do stuff. That's what motivates me is just, I'm greedy, my shout out Danielle and Eric, my ex-bosses. They told me the only bad thing about me is I'm greedy, is I want more, and not in a bad way, just like I'm never content. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to get as much as possible.
I absolutely love it. I love you talking about not wanting to be comfortable and really pushing the boundaries. And good advice for everyone. And I think your story, you know, like you said, 6 months ago, you wouldn't have imagined this. A couple years ago, I wouldn't imagine I'd be here either. So that's a good answer.
Oh, you got a hell of a gig, bro. Yeah,
bro,
you're killing it, bro.
job.
You're killing it. 100%, bro. You're killing it.
I appreciate you. All right. What is a period of your life that you get nostalgic for?
I'm a Texas boy, so you're going to have to define nostalgic.
So when you look back and you just think like, oh man, those were good days.
So I used to be ranked number 3 in the world in boxing when I was like 15 years old.
Okay, we may have to talk about this a little more.
Okay, yeah. So I boxed from 8 years old to 16, and my dad was my coach. And shout out Earl Spence. He's one of the best boxers out of Dallas. And, you know, he just fought Terrence Crawford and lost. And I had the opportunity to spar with him 3 or 4 times. And, you know, just from 8 to 15, that's I feel like that's what made me the man I am today is, you know, looking people in their eyes, you know, not being afraid, holding doors open, saying yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And, you know, that's just who I am. And it all came from, you know, boxing. And I remember being in the gym at, you know, 12, 13 years old, and you're with all your buddies, and, you know, you just feel like what you're doing is right. And that's kind of how I feel about this poker thing is, you know, I just feel like what I'm doing is like right and it's good. You know, it feels like I always like being in competition with people, and I always felt like, you know, I want to be at the best whatever I do. And, you know, I really do feel like one day I will be, you know, sitting there playing these, you know, regular events and, you know, cashing. And I want that $1 million hand to mob. And, you know, I want to buy a house in Vegas. And, you know, I want these things that people have. And, you know, I want it now, you know, and that's what I'm going for. And that's how, that was my mindset when I used to box, you know, is, you know, you got to put in the work to get there. And, you know, I got to get better at that with this poker stuff for sure. But, you know, that's probably the best time in my life, just riding in the truck with my dad to boxing practice, talking about, you know, the week. And that's probably my nostalgia moment.
Are there lessons or experiences from boxing that you took with you and kind of translate into poker? There's people like Alex Foxen and Chris Brewer who are former athletes. I think it's clear that, you know, experience in athletics really can transfer over. Maybe it's the discipline, maybe it's the perseverance, but what sort of lessons did you get from boxing?
Well, in the amateur boxing, they used to be 2-minute rounds, and you'd only fight three rounds. It's almost like a chicken fight. You know, you go, you know, you train, you know, 3 or 4 months, you'd run countless miles, you train so many hours, you'd spar repetition for 6 minutes. And, you know, we would drive all the way to Kansas for the national championships. And, you know, you'd fight some kid from New York that wants it, you know, just as much as you do. And you got 6 minutes to prove yourself. And, you know, you drive 9 hours to Kansas for 6 minutes. You know, you'd run 8 miles for 6 minutes. You train, you know, 6 weeks for 6 minutes. And that's how I feel about this poker stuff too. It's like you put in all the reps, you know, you do your solver studying, you know, you talk to your friends about hand history, but in that one hand, that's just a minute of time. And, you know, you make one mistake, it costs you your whole row if you let it. And that's how I feel like the boxing does correlate to the poker. You know, it's all about, you know, one hand, you know, and it's just like this tournament stuff, you know, you got to play 4 or 5 hands, really 4 or 5 flips really defy all this stuff. And that's how I felt in the boxing thing is, you know, if you lose the first 2 rounds, you probably lose the fight. And, you know, that doesn't define who you are, but it hurts, you know, when you lose.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, I like asking people their favorite life lessons that can be drawn to poker just because poker is, you know, there's so many metaphors, but it sounds like there's a lot there with you in boxing. So,
yeah. 100%.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. All right, well, thank you for doing this. Last thing I just want to ask is we're wrapping up the WPT Voyage. We're going to be in the Bahamas tomorrow. What are your plans there?
So there's a wrecked ship. Me and my girl are gonna go scuba dive in the wrecked ship.
Okay, I'm snorkeling around the wrecked ship.
Yeah, maybe that's what we're doing. Okay.
What time? I'm going at 11.
I'm going at 11, brother. Yeah, we're gonna be snorkeling together. Yeah, I kind of got sunburned in the Grand Cayman. I'm gonna make sure to put on my sunscreen, and then we got that beach party. So
yeah. I
think it'll be a good time tomorrow, brother. But I really do appreciate this, man. This was so much fun, and
no, man,
we'll have to do it again.
I appreciate you. You have a very interesting story, and it's been great talking to you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.